Hi, welcome to Let's Talk Finances. Today I wanted to share with you the number 2 reason why I created Young Money Savvy. The number 1 was my student loans, not fun. Then the second one is becoming part of a MLM. So I wanted to share my story with you, my experience, so that if you know someone who's in it, you know how it feels like. And if you happen to know nothing about that kind of company, well, you'll learn a thing or two about it today. You ready? Let's go. Alright, so what is an MLM? It stands for multi-level marketing, also known as network marketing. And as its name sounds like, networking, it's all about your network. So how does it look like? Well, first of all, it's direct sales. You get commissions for all of that. To be involved, you have to pay a fee or you have to buy the product. There are usually weekly or bi-weekly meetings. There are rewards, incentives for you to rank up. So there is this portion of the business where you're trying to rank up and get more commissions that way. You have no say in the product, so what is being produced, what service is being rendered, or what the price is. Yet, they advertise as you are your own boss. Well, really, no, you're just a salesman. Really, that's what it really is. But the cherry on top, what really makes an MLM, network marketing, really that, is a recruitment aspect. So if they spend a lot of time telling you need to recruit your cousin, your mom, your dad, your best friend, etc., that is definitely, that's the number one thing. The MLM industry is involved in many different industries. Cosmetics, you have the financial industry. Heck, the first one I got involved in was selling knives, Cutco. If you've ever heard of that one, maybe I'll talk about that too. But there's so many of them. In the fitness industry too, there are, like products to lose weight and stuff like that. That's a big one too. There are different industries, but they all feel and run the same type of way. Another thing I need to mention too is the way they get your attention is they usually mention something about a mentor. Hey, you need to meet my mentor. This person retired and is now making a lot of money and I'm learning under them. You gotta meet them. Yeah, that's definitely MLM. So now you understand a little bit more how it works, I want to share with you my actual experience. Like I mentioned before, I started with Cutco. Now, it's not quite... Cutco is a little bit different because although I had an option to buy a kit in order to sell some, I technically was able to borrow one, and if I wanted to leave, I either returned it or paid for it. So technically there was, at the time, there was not much of a buy-in per se, but they like to prey on college student. And I was a college student at the time, I believe. Yeah, I think so. I was working 5 jobs, trying to pay off my stupid student loans I signed up for that I didn't pay attention to. So I was in a vulnerable spot and, figured, hey, extra income. And so that's what I did. And the scariest part for me was the fact that once I started running out of my network and getting to those people's network, because the way the business works is you call up their target market, which are middle-aged wives. You do your pitch, they teach you this pitch, and then you go in and you ask for referrals. That's one of the biggest things. So it's not so much driven on recruitment, although there's an aspect to it. It really is more about selling, and they really want to sell to your network, essentially. The people who have an office. So you can work your way up. But my experience was I just had to make cold calls to get these people to buy these knives because I'm a broke-ass student. But the gist of my experience was I had to make cold calls, to people I didn't know, so that's what that is, cold call, people I don't know, to convince them to buy knives because I'm a broke student who has student loans and is trying to pay them off. And although all my intentions were there, I'm selling knives to people I don't know. They don't really know me. But that's what it was. And I'm an introverted person by nature. So that was really, really, really hard. And that's the first time I really experienced anxiety. I remember staring at my list of people and freaking out in my head. Like, I don't want to call these people. I don't know these people. And I'm in the business of having to go to their homes and sell. I mean, what if these people were bad? Like, something could happen to me. I'm a little kid. Yeah, it looks, I mean, I don't know what could happen, right? But that crossed my mind. The one good thing I got out of Cutco is sales experience. Definitely. I mean, having to talk to strangers, call strangers, that definitely gave me the power to flex my muscle. But I was a musician, that's really what I wanted to pursue. So the moment I got really tired of it, I kind of left it behind. But that gave me the taste of commission. That got me start thinking about, wow, the amount of effort can actually produce much more income than at my retail job because I'm an hourly employee, etc. So that really opened the door for my family member to really get me sucked in the MLM that I would eventually spend 2 to 3 years with. And I don't feel like mentioning the name. I don't think they deserve the advertisements. Now, if you know me, you know exactly what company that is. But all I'll say, it's in the financial industry, which makes sense. Money savvy is about finances. The first thing I should have paid attention to was that I had several other members of the family telling me this family member you're going to be involved with does not have a good track record. He's known for making unethical moves or bending the rules a little bit. But again, I was vulnerable. I really wanted to make money. And I was like, you know what? I don't know this guy because I didn't grow up with him. And I felt like giving him a shot. And I did. And I put my trust in him. I looked at him as a mentor because he's so persuasive and so manipulative. He made me really feel like he was my other father. And he took advantage of the fact that I have an estranged father to really pose as my father. He literally used this word, I am like your father. And you'll see that that's a technique that people use in the industry to prey on the vulnerable. They find that thing, that tick, and they use that to their advantage. So that was definitely one thing that really got me in there and to trust him and to kind of be in awe. But that's a technique every company uses. No doubt the leaders do that, and that's how they keep you around for a long time. Now, the scariest part about my experience is I'm one of the few who actually made money. And by made money, I don't mean like a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there. Within the first 6 months, I really took it seriously. I was coachable. I listened to everything they said. I followed my family member's advice and just went under his wing. I had made about $30,000 in 6 months like that, just going to work and utilizing the system, etc. So because I actually made money, I know how it felt like to make money in that setting, so I knew it was not impossible. And so, I don't want to skip ahead too much, but it made me stick around even when I was not making money afterwards. So that's a big problem. But most of the people in there, not making much money. And they try to flaunt the ones who do to encourage you, but really it felt like a bragging party every time. Hey, who got his check? Oh, look at the comma in there. Yeah, that's cool. These people are really needing the money, and that's not, I don't, now that I look back, it's not really cool. Now here's the kicker. Not only did I make a lot of income, I got a lot of ego attached with that. And that's the part about myself that I hate the most about that experience is I thought I was a shit. Sorry for my language, but I really thought I was on top of the world. I was better than everyone. And this led me to really cutting ties with a lot of my friends. I lost so many relationships. To be honest, I'm blessed that my girlfriend at the time, that is not my wife, actually put up with that because, man, I was making really bad decisions. I was judging people. I was willing to do whatever it takes to make income, and that's not right. But that's a culture that they try to get you to adopt, and I really was part of that culture at one point. Not that I was doing anything unethical, but I was willing to just look past people who didn't believe in me, and they teach you that, the naysayer, just leave them out of your life. And most of those people are people who cared about me and wanted me to open my eyes. But I was brainwashed, and that's something I really need you to understand. If you know someone that's in there, they're brainwashed. So they're trained to have a response for any objection that you may have for them. And they're trained to believe that if you're saying anything that goes against them, that they're no good. Be out. Like, don't talk to these people. They're your haters. They're trying to put you down. No, those people are actually trying to bring some sense into you. But because of that culture of really supportive, I must say, when I was making money, and when I started, and then when I was making money, I felt so much love, so much support, and you're blinded by that because you're now in a supportive environment. If something goes against that, it just feels, ugh. So your response is like, get out of my life. And one of the saddest part about this is I had a band back in the day. I'm convinced that this was the reason why the band broke up, because I was so involved in this and so just caught up into it. I was negligent towards my bandmates. I was trying to get them to join. One of actually joined, decided to quit his job, but he didn't make any money, or hardly any. And that really broke my heart. But I haven't spoken to neither of them since. And I don't blame them if they're mad at me, not a pretty Jeremy for sure. So yeah, so that's really tough. I lost a lot of friends. I probably lost a lot of respect from people, and I totally understand where they're coming from. But that's tough, and that's reality. People who are part of these companies are willing to put in the trash relationships that they had for many, many years of good people. All right, so the final chapter of my experience was, well, and I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but essentially the way the business model worked is when you come in, you're a trainee, so you're supposed to introduce your network to those who are higher up, your uplines. Well, why do I keep doing this? And you're supposed to let them train you and selling them the products, but you don't get any of that money because, that's part of your training. And they tell you, once you rank up, then it'll be your turn to be the trainer, and that's when you get paid. So that's an incentive. You're supposed to give up some sales. Boom. So that's a big red flag. Like, you should get paid for what you put in, all right? Even in the financial industry, if you look at a bank, yeah, you may not get great commission at first, but you're still gonna you should be getting paid for any sales that you make. Although, there's licensing required, so it's a little bit more complicated than that in the financial industry, but just to understand that that's not right. Forgetting about the details and the technicality of things, it should not be okay to give up your sales. And this is how it bit me in the butt, because once I became a trainer and I was running from a promotion, meaning I needed a lot of recruits, I needed a lot of income, a lot of sales, well, those trainees were giving up their sales. They were giving up their commissions. And I had done so much of that. Everyone was excited at the office, they're bragging about me, showing off my checks, etc. Well, one person was not too happy about that. Like, why is Jeremy getting all the credit? Those are my training sales. Those are my people. So I just followed the system. I was truly blind. And that person was not okay with it. And guess what they did? They said, you know what? I'm going to go around, leave this, go somewhere else where I'll get paid, and I'm canceling everything. All those sales you made, I'm going to cancel. So I got a lot of remember how I made a lot of money? Well, guess what? I made a lot of chargebacks. And not to get into detail, essentially, I could not make any more money until how can I keep it simple? Because the way you get paid were based off on advances, meaning money that you paid up front, even though the payments are not being fulfilled yet for the year. So if people cancel, then you're stuck with that. You're supposed to pay that back. But little stupid me, it's not like I kept everything in a savings account. So any coming sale would go towards that debt that I actually owe. And I stayed there for 18 months, not making a single penny. And I just remember how depressed I was. And in the reality of things, it started making me look at the light in one way because, well, that person's right. It's their sale. But at the same time, because I had tasted the money, I really wanted to make it up and get back in the green. But that day never came. It really took a mental toll on me because I literally felt bad calling up someone to make a sale because I was so desperate. I knew that all I had in mind at that point was I must make a sale. Otherwise, I'm not going to get paid. And my agenda was just that. And that didn't feel right with me. That's when I started opening my eyes and it was time to make things right. And so finally I decided to leave, and I'm sure they talk crap about me behind my back. It's heavy, but I'm glad it's behind me, and I'll never get involved in something like that again. I mean, the funny part is, with that first company, yes, there's more. I left that company, but then that same family member, how stupid I was, decided to join another company. We did it again, and he still took advantage of us, essentially. And the second time around, I was like, no way, we're done. We're definitely done. I don't speak to him anymore. I've actually, I don't no longer speak to my best man that was at my wedding. That's how bad things got. If you know someone, and this is a good segue, if you know someone who's part of this, you have to understand that's the culture, that's how people are. And if you don't want them to be involved anymore, the last thing you want to do is criticize them. Tell them, this is a scam, this is an MLM. They're gonna cut you off real quick. So the best thing you could do, and it sounds weird, but you gotta be supportive. You gotta keep an open communication with them. MLMs are really much like cults. They have a leader, they have that manipulative things, they prey on the vulnerable, they try to cut them off from their circle. So if I were you, I really would look up this gentleman named Rick Alan Ross. He does amazing work for helping people get out of cults. And so I would look him up and listen to this podcast. I believe the name is This Is Actually Happening, episode 162. And I believe the name or the title of the episode is something along the lines of, what if I grew up in a cult? And when I listened to that, a lot of things, I'm like, yeah, been through that. Yeah, felt that. So very similar. They use the same techniques, and it's good for you to understand, to educate yourself before you really try to get yourself involved with trying to get someone out of there. But yeah, you gotta be loving, you gotta be supportive, and try your best to understand where they're coming from. Because they're in a bubble, they're not in the real world, they're not really looking at the facts. They've been brainwashed. They're around people who they think are very supportive of them. But the problem is that when they leave, they're not. These people are going to go after them. I mean, I kind of got lucky. Going after them, it just depends on who you're dealing with. I'm not saying it's for everyone that happens, but, it's the kind of mentality, unfortunately. I think the hardest part about this whole experience for me was, am I a victim? And I felt kind of guilty because I'm an adult, right, when this happened to me. And I always felt in the back of my mind, well, I said yes to everything and I did everything. It's not like someone had a gun pointed to my head. And although that's true, listening to Rick and Alan Ross talking about the psychology behind all this, he's met people from all different type of fields. people who are intelligent, people who have really bad backgrounds, and it happens to anyone. You have to understand that it's not your fault. It's not their fault. They are victims. So for me, it was really a battle. Like, yeah, I admit it to some level because I extended my trust to my family member. I was vulnerable. I was, didn't have money. I wanted to make more money. I was unhappy at my retail job. So a lot of my student loans, a lot of things kind of like led me to this point. But although I could have said no, I was taken advantage of. I was manipulated, brainwashed, and I can't really blame myself for that. I think the one thing that I do accept is what happened. And I'm kind of glad that I got those chargebacks and I was not able to make money, because I think I could have made my career being there. And that's not what I'm destined for. So thank God I was able to step away, being willing to cut off those people out of my life, the ones that were part of the MLMs. And that was really hard. Talking about breaking up with my best man, that was really tough. And we don't talk enough about friendship breakups. But honestly, that's much harder than a relation, like a boyfriend-girlfriend breakup. It's so much tougher, and we don't talk about that. So that was tough in itself. But I hope that it opens your eyes a little bit more about what goes on. And if you don't know, never heard of MLMs, please stay away from them. If I could do it again, heck no. F no. But I don't want to cuss. But no, a strong no. I'm glad it happened to me, and I'm glad I was able to learn things from that, and it gave birth to Young Money Savvy, and that I'm really passionate about making things right. So that's good. I accepted the consequences, and I made decisions to better myself. But honestly, it was not worth it. I was devastated emotionally, physically. I got fat because I was eating my way out of my emotions. I was broke, man. But also, another good thing is it proved that my wife was really a kind person, very patient, and now she's my wife, but at the time she was my girlfriend. And the fact that she stuck through all of that really proved a lot to me. So that's another good thing. So there are always good things that come out of bad things, but I would not recommend going through this one. So if you know someone that has a family member or a close one, a loved one going through this, please share this video with them. Help them understand a little bit the psychology of what it is like to be part of that. And hopefully that'll give them a little bit more hope. And there's a lot of resources. Like I said, look up Rick Alan Ross, listen to podcasts. It may be beneficial to actually look out for professional help, people who know how to handle this correctly. I know we're very quick to want to take action ourselves, but sometimes we don't know what we're doing. And so for that reason, I would suggest you at least look into that and see if there's anything that could work out for you. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Spread the word, and please take good care of yourself. And at the end of the day, remember, be a loving person, nurture them, and there is hope at the end of the tunnel. You just gotta be patient. All right, I'll see you next time. Take care.